may look at a gnome, and we'll do a gnome. It's the first time I've done any gnomes. This was my prototype. I did about 28 of them. I don't have any left. So, and that's Teddy down there in the dog bed. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started on this. Any questions, please ask. I sharpen most tools at about a 40-degree angle. I use a 40-40 grind. It's my standard grind, so that's about this is 40-degree angle. So, okay, and we'll do a snowman and see if we can how this lathe runs. Okay, straight spindle roughing gouge. I'm a come up on the bevel. I don't come in from the end because you can easily get a split out. So I'll come in here. Intent is just to get it round to start with. Not totally round yet. And I'll, just for sake of removing material, I'll take a bite off of there. I want to start getting a vibration on that. Okay, still got a flat. Okay. Another skew in here. Okay. You can use just about any tool you want to do this with. In fact, I actually turned one out. We're using an axe one time just to show I could do it. So any tool that's sharp, you can do it. I like the skewer at least to come in and get the initial base cuts to get a basic shape on it. That's a peeling cut. I'm coming in. That's just a V cut coming slightly to the side. And come on over here and put the other part of a hat band in. Okay. Oh, sorry. I didn't even want that out. I gotta figure out what tools I have here anyway. Okay. This is a spindle gouge. It's done a Mark Soleil type spindle gouge. It's sharpened way back with a bevel on it, and I sharpened most of it on a belt, on a sander, on a belt sander coming in. You can do it on the wheel, but it's basically rolled back in, and it's just on a real sharp angle. Okay, now, hat. That's going to be his head. Now, his head really comes all the way up into here. That's the top of his head inside the hat. So right there is the center of his head. This is a mistake most people make. They put the center of the head here and it looks like the hat's floating over his head. But the center of his head is really right here because that's the top and bottom of it. So, come in and get So this top section, I'm coming from the center of it back out, center of it back out. Now the hat looks like it's sitting on his head and not floating over his head. I have to go back and readjust some of it because Let me see how far that catch took it. Yeah, I need to trim some of it. I'm gonna have a little notch out of his hat, but for the sake of the demo, I'm not gonna redo it. Now with what I just did, I would have probably already trashed this and not tried to fix it, so. And then I'll sand him. Now I'm not going to do a lot of sanding here, but I'll tell you what, I'll do a 150 and stop at that. Maple. Oh, let's go take him off with a. Now the hat band, I apologize. Well, maybe I can do it with this one. Take a piece of wood and push up against it. I usually have just a piece of press board that I'm doing it with, but and I burned a little bit on the edge, so we'll take that off. Okay. And I'll sand the top of it and clean that off from there. But we'll go ahead and put eyes on him in a few minutes. But I want to jump to get one of these started. And this is the way I normally do it, so it's a good transition from one to the next. I'll center the piece in, eyeball it that it centers there. I'm off here. Eyeball on that. And just screw it down. Rough and gouge. There it is. Now this one I'm going to turn on multiple axes. Okay, and get the basic shape first. Now, as I say, I'm going to turn this on 3 different axes. And what I do is I offset it about 1/4 inch. But it just so happens, okay, that this drive here is 1/2 inch. So if I do one there, there, and there, I'm offset. That's a 1/4 inch offset. But before, and I'm going to put it back on center for just a second, just to get a mark of where I want to go. The story stick here somewhere. Oh, there it is. And I want to mark some positions on here. So, if you tell, I've got a little color markings here, so I'm going to mark those colors at those points. And you'll see when I'm cutting it why I did that, because I'm basically coming on 3 offsets. So I'll turn the blue on one offset and the orange on another offset, instead of me trying to count across it, because I would definitely miscount it. Okay, now I'm gonna reposition this on. Let me see if I can see it.
Trace, when you're repositioning on the step mark, are you putting it on where the step teeth went in?
Yes, I am.
On, you know, when you mark step,
yeah, I'm actually putting it where the step teeth come in on it. On this case, I'm dividing it up in thirds, is what I'm doing.
yes.
Okay, and if I didn't have the stub teeth in there, I would draw a 1/2 inch. I would draw a 1/2 inch diameter circle on there and put it where they intersected.
Okay.
And I'm just eyeballing it because it's close enough to, you know, it's close enough on this. So I'm gonna put it right there on that little indent. And you don't have to have that 1/2 inch. You can do it with other.
It's a good way for a guy like me to register.
Yeah.
Where I'm going, you know, keep it.
And it worked real well for me to register it doing it. Okay, let's do the blue first. So I'm gonna come in here.
Did you take your speed up a little higher when you run offset?
I haven't been. I just turned it down lower to mark it. I'm doing about 18 or 1900 right now. I tried this with a skew, and I didn't get as clean a cut as I do on this one because I'm more used to this tool. And I'm bringing it in from this side first, so I don't get as much tear out on the top of it. I'm trying to get this clean so it's also clean in the bottoms because I don't have any. It's hard to clean off stuff that's on an offset.
Are you taking that cut just past your ghost line?
I'm just taking it all about the same. I'm nothing special on it. Okay, now I'm gonna find that other offset, other point. Be about there. I'm gonna jump to orange. And we'll go to green. And I do need to clean this up a little bit, but there's a little bit of cleanup in there around the edges. Got a knife handy. You get a few areas that aren't totally cleaned up in there. This is usually the easiest way to get down across that bottom edge. Okay. Okay, the next step, let me jump over to here. And we'll get a little bit of finishing going on it. I don't know whether y'all are familiar with puff paints. It's fabric paint that they sell at Hobby Lobby. They make it for putting on shirts and stuff, is what they really make it for. But I use it on my snowman. And come in here and put a nose on him. Is it going to come out? It stopped up on me. I'll pick the side that I want it on, and as I say, this one here is it's not coming out as clean as I'd like it. Yeah, they always do that. I usually have a little thing on the side, just like I'm doing here, and I'll squeeze it there first. That's an all at once, isn't it? Okay. Now, one thing, you realize it later, that's the most important thing. If you're right-handed, do its right eye first. And there's actually a good reason for it. If I did his left eye first, I would be blocking his nose and I couldn't see it. This way, when I'm doing it and seeing it, I can see his nose and his eyeball, and I try to make the eyeball the same distance on the other side. Otherwise, you can't see it. And you'll get it in the wrong place.
The ones I've got crooked, I just say they're from Simpson County and they understand.
And then coming down this thing, I line it up so that I'm sort of going in line with it. And then this is just a little magic marker. And since I'm not going to do this, I'll sign this just with an X, but But I will talk about
My signature.
I will talk about this particular pen. That was part of what I wanted to address was the pen. It's a micron pen. I highly recommend it for signing your work. It doesn't. If you let it dry, it doesn't bleed underneath your finish. If you sign it with a Sharpie, then I hit it with lacquer, it's going to bleed. It starts bleeding. This doesn't bleed under the finishes, and you can.
Micron, is that the name brand?
It's the name brand. It's Micron. It comes all the way available from 0.003 millimeters all the way up to 1 millimeter.
What is it?
This is a point. This is a 0.03, or this is a 0.3, I think. It's a 0.3. It's fairly small. I usually sign with a 0.05, but that's to say they also make a 0.03, which you pretty much have to special order because I haven't seen any of the other places. But I sign everything if I possibly can.
Where do you buy the pen?
Hobby Lobby, Michaels.
Your microphone there, Trey.
Is what?
Your mic coming off.
It's tried to come off my ear about 8 times already, so.
That's the reason I hate them too.
But I highly recommend it for signing your work. It doesn't bleed, and that's a big deal. See, it's already popped back off again. And I'm gonna get this all over myself if I don't do this. I'll get it out of the way. Okay.
On the depth of cut you did on the tree,
Yes.
how do you gauge how deep you're in? Are you watching your shadow there? Is that how you tell how deep your cut is?
Well, if you watch it, you can actually see it. Let me put it back on the lathe on the offset. You can actually see it when it's doing it. Which one? It's this one right here. And if you look at it, I can actually look over the top of it and actually see see where it actually is cutting.
You gauge it by the colored pencil that's going all the way around?
If I take the color pencil all the way around, I've already cut on the back side of it, and I don't want to cut the back side off of it. The intent of what I'm trying to do is cut it so I have a scallop on one side of it, or 3/4 of the way around. But you can see on this one, this is the one that was cut. It's still coming a little bit on this side here. I didn't come all the way through. And I don't think I came all the way through. I may have on the top, but when I come back over the top and clean this back up, I'm gonna put it back on center and clean it up. I'll be back on center, but I got to paint it. This is Jacquard Luminaire paint, Pearl Emerald Green. I sort of like their paints, but let's see.
You order that, pick it up at home.
I order that from Dig Bricks. I'm not sure if there's anybody locally that does it, but any paint would work. And I'm just going to slap it in here.
You're not as careful with it as I thought you would be.
That's an acrylic paint.
Yes, it is.
You need a cup of water to clean your brush.
I have one right here. When it goes back on the lathe, it will clean those edges up. The only thing I got to be careful with is I actually get it all. I make sure it's in all the joints all the way around. Let me keep jumping around to a sea urchin, because I'm going to go ahead and slap some paint on it too. Just get it. Now, just turned on the lathe, little double-sided tape on some sandpaper. Teddy, no bark, no. Okay, somebody else new walked in. I want to round these ends out. He saw a kid, he loves kids. So when I put my finial in there, it'll already be round. Now the other problem you have with these is these little bumps are going to be in my way. Well, that's what this is for. I'm going to clean some of those little bumps off. And I'm just going to come in here on these little edges. And I have some at the top too. Make sure.
There's a store,
What?
on the coast, there's a store, I think it's either Pakistan or Wales, that they sell those.
Well, there's a Joyce Seafood Joyce Seashell that is a wholesale dealer in Peshkirchian. But it's wholesale only, just because we can. This shell's too dirty to do anything else with. And that's what I wind up doing. I'll take the shells that have sat out and got real dirty and stuff. Those are the good ones to paint. Yes, it's the same type of paint. It has a sort of luminescence. It's luminaire. It's sort of. I like it because it sort of jumps out versus just the plain simple paint. And you know what? You're not using that much of it anyway.
Did you ever have any problem with those shells
Unzipping,
unzipping?
yeah. That's the reason why I buy them by the gross.
I didn't know whether you might use the CA glue or something on them.
I have not found it worthwhile to mess with it when it gets down to this, when it gets that bad. Okay. And we'll just set that little joker right there and let it dry. Okay, now what I've done, this is big leaf maple burl, and I use a glue block on it to save the burl itself. I wind up having a whole bunch of glue blocks. This isn't one of them, but I wind up with a bunch of glue blocks on stuff. Here's another example. That was a birdhouse because I held it in the chuck and was turning it. That's a birdhouse. So I'll just throw them in a bin. 80% of my trash, but the rest of them, I have 50 of them throwing just in a box. And I get ready for one, I'll stick it on there, clean it up, and glue them on. Okay, now let's see which chuck. Okay, this chuck will fit. The other thing I've done, added a little piece of aluminum handle to my chucks. This is the same thing I would originally had it set up for, just like this as a handle. It was aluminum, just a piece of solid aluminum bar. Drilled a hole in it from both sides and put a set screw in them for handles. When I put a set screw in, I put a metric set screw in there because that fits it. It's the same thing I use on my chuck. But this fits it, so I go to the, I went ahead and just invested in the metric screw and the tap for it, so that it all fits one size, and I'm not digging through a bunch of different Allen wrenches and trying to find the right Allen wrench. So I use the same size Allen wrench. So every one of these was drilled out with the metric. It was worth it for a one-time investment. I'm doing it. But you'll see when I put this on here, that's supposed to be. Hopefully this, yeah. That,
That's the original, I'm trying to get this in my little brain here. That's the original cross piece, you just added the aluminum to it.
that's all it is.
But you got arthritis, you know, that'd be a good help right there in my hands.
It's
Real painful. So
the,
that's really give you
the little yellow thing off of the end of it, I don't, but when you're coming in this way and tightening the thing up, you're always, you know, two hands and everything else you can do with it. This way of doing it, it's tight doing that. I'm not having to, you know, fight it and everything else. I don't push down real hard on it, but it gives me that mechanical advantage on it, and it makes it easy to tighten and put it on there.
Well, my hands they stay sore, they're getting out, you know, so I need something that would give me a mechanical advantage, and that would do it.
That would work. That would work perfectly. Solid aluminum stock. You can drill it on the lathe. You put it on the lathe and drill it. Chuck it in here and just bring your tailstock up there and just keep walking it in there, and you can drill it on the lathe. Okay. I'll dump this some smaller because I don't have that. These are marginal fitting this on. Okay.
Your hands hurt all the time, you older than I am, I just wonder.
Okay. I'm just rounding this off. This is a little big, so we'll bring the size down. Ball gouge, but you can use anything. I'm coming in from right about the center. Let's see how clean. Let's see if I got good clean cut on. Yep. Okay. If you look at that cut, it's fairly clean. That's just a 40/40 grind ball gouge is what it is. And that's bigger than what let me get roughly about. I like this size here, so let's get it back down to about that size.
Is there an advantage to that, Trace?
On what? Size? You start getting too big, they won't hang on a tree. I've shortened my finials up a little bit. I used to have finials like this. I've shortened them up because I think they look better, and I think that's about the right size for hanging on the tree. You get to the great big ones like this and everything, they don't fit in with everything else. And I've kept the finials shorter so they actually would hang. So I'm still a little oversized, so I'm going to bring this size down a little bit.
Do you order this timber?
Yeah, what?
Do you order the wood, or do you just...
I think I picked it up at SWAT. From a bigger block. what it is, because I know I'm going to turn small stuff out of it, I go through, look at the pattern, and see what I can get for the best price. That, you know, he's selling his stuff. Most people are turning bowls and stuff out of it. I can get by and get by with stuff that wouldn't sell otherwise. So, okay, that looks like about the right thing. And as long as I don't have a whole bunch of tear out in something, put that other sandpaper. Oh, here it is. I'll go ahead and, you know what? Let me do this. I'm not thinking of the right thing. I need to go ahead. I don't want to sand it. I'm going to scrape it instead of sand it. What I'm trying to do, there was scrapers. Oh, that's not it. Where was it? Have a negative rake scraper sitting here. Well, this one will do. Normally I'd take this to the grinder, but I don't have a grinder here, so we'll just do it this way. Go ahead and put a burr on it. And the reason why I don't want to sand it, if I sand it, I'm going to clog the pores. And I don't want to clog the pores of it. I want the pores clean and open, because I'm going to put that stain on it. This is a scraper. It's a Stuart Batty scraper. The insert to it is V10 steel. The rest of it is just mild steel, and it's just stuck in there. This slides out, turns around, and everything else. And it's really set up. That's really to go inside of a bowl, but I like them, and I'll show you. Wait a second. Okay. I had another one of them here. I know there was another one right here somewhere because I set it down. Oh well. Okay, let's go ahead and drill it out, and we'll hollow it out. I use a 1/2 inch drill, 1/2 inch on it. Okay, shaving stopped coming out, so I'll back it out. I'm gonna go all the way through it. Now notice I kept my hand here, so if it comes out of the chuck or whatever, it's not going to fly all over the place. Using a 1/2 inch on it though, that's a 1/2 inch. So that's going to fit every one of them. And it'll fit that sea urchin too, and I'll show you how when I get to that. hollowed out. Let's see. My choice of hollowing tools is a small hunter cutter. Is what I use. It's carbide, so I can rotate it around. You can also put it on a diamond hone and hone it a little bit too. So we're just. I'm working this quadrant first, and then I'll come back up to the other side. Now, to give you an idea, that's set screw is straight up and down, so I know the direction my tool is going. And I always put them in the same way so I have a reference. And I just realized I didn't have a way of cleaning this out, so.
About how thin do you think it, Tracy?
I just make it lighter. The intention of it is to reduce weight.
Yes.
Nobody can stick their hand in it. They don't know what it is. I don't care. Unless I'm going to pierce it,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any difference. 1/8 inch or whatever. It's a weight reduction only. And I'm sort of, okay, let's see. I'll grip. What I want to do is look to see how deep it is. The place I have the most problem is the very, very bottom. So, okay, I measure my hand to the depth of it. That's the bottom. And I don't want to go any deeper than that. And right now, I probably have about a 1/4 inch on the side over there, just to see if I can drag some of this stuff out of here. Yes, it is. I think I have another one sitting right here. Let me pass it. It's the same, exact same thing as that.
And that hunter set, he actually comes, he makes it a set. There's a long neck, and then there's one called the shoulder boot. And I got all 3 of them. They are really great for one. You saw how easy it was to haul that.
Looks like it's loose. I still got a lot of shavings in there, but we'll make it do. And notice I'm about a 30-degree angle or so on it. I'm not. Okay. This one is actually the one that they sell. The one that's being passed around, I just bought a tip and stuck it on a piece. Stuck it on a rod. This is a little neck one that he's talking about. And all I'm going to do is get this top little edge with it. It's important that the tool rests here and not here. If here it would twist, here it doesn't twist. But again, it's small enough it may not make that much difference, especially with a handle I can keep from turning. So I'm just going to work this little top edge a little bit. Okay. Okay, done. And we'll see what this looks like. Ooh, I got some bad tear out in it. Since it's tearing out so bad, I'm going to go ahead and sand it with the coarse sandpaper just because, even though I said I'm not going to. Don't forget I have a 1/2 inch hole, so. Let's see what I want to do. Let's use this one on. I couldn't get in, it's too tight to get in there. Let's hit this with the coarse sandpaper.
You want the top and the bottom to have a little flat, is that correct?
I'm not sure. When one side's it's a little squatted on one side. When I put it together, I look at it and say, okay, this is the way it looks the best. You're implying I pre-think this. You're implying that I pre-think it and plan it.
Well,
What?
That
Yeah.
looks about right.
Yep.
so I don't plan, doesn't mean nobody else.
Okay.
Design as you go.
Yep.
All design is
Okay.
Quick on the
That's
bar, that aluminum stock you use, what diameter is that?
1 inch.
where you get it at.
I buy it from a company down in Gulfport. They actually have to order it from them. Your best bet is probably go on Amazon and get a piece. Because what I'm ordering comes in a 20-foot stick and you have to buy the whole stick. Because I'm buying from a commercial company that sells it. There may be some companies around here in Jackson that you can get it without having to go do everything. But I use it to make the handle. And the handle that you see there is a homemade handle. It's an 1.25 inch stock in there that's been turned and put the 1.25 inch in, have it drilled, attach it to that, and put it on the lathe and turn it. The aluminum was turned on the lathe with a ball gouge. So that's turned on the lathe with a ball gouge, of getting the shape in there. And I put a couple of grooves in there so I could tell which one was which.
I like the weight of it too.
It's nice. Okay, let's take this off of here. It came off quicker than I thought it was going to. Sandpaper I just had in my hand.
Your gnome stole it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Teddy says it's the cat's fault. He blames everything on the cat. Even though the cat's outside. It's still the cat's fault.
Like it.
Okay. Okay, I have a globe. So we figure out what colors to put on it. Let's go with the red and blues. Magenta. These are artisan dyes. I have thinned them with alcohol. Oh, and I'll put a sales pitch in for this type of bottles. These bottles are fabulous. They're really great. Ordered from Amazon, but like this is water in this one, and I can come in and get a little drop or whatever out of it. Very comfortable. You just squeeze the bottle and it comes out. It's the ones you had in your chemistry labs if you have chemistry lab in school. And alcohol is what?
Said I never made it.
Oh, okay.
We love you, Tim. That's what I told the mayor when he promoted me to fire chief.
That's why they did it, to get you away from all that stuff, probably, right?
You know, that's probably why you have no arthritis, you don't want to see it.
Man, I hurt my gun.
I was going to say, the only chemical you got around was ethyl alcohol?
Not hardly.
Okay. And I'm going to just take this dye. Q-tip and put it on there. And I'm going to put 2 coats on it. And the reason why, if you can see it, that's not very even. Well, the 2 coats, when I put the second coat on, it'll make it even.
Trace, I know the artisan dye is the viscosity's thin anyway, and you thinned it again,
I thin it on out. Yeah.
2 to 1, what?
I've got some I've thinned, then I have some that's marked thin. So some of it's even beyond that. I have a friend that's a nurse anesthetist at the hospital, and that's what this bottle is. That's a vial for that medicine comes in. It's a little vial bottle, beautiful cap on it. Well, works great for this purpose. If you know anybody that works in the medical field that's giving injections and stuff.
Cut you off a little piece of half-inch dye, stick to those holes, and then it paint the paint.
That requires pre-thought. I do a lot of stuff. I shouldn't say I don't do any pre-planning, especially when I do on finishing stuff. I have stuff set up that I can finish stuff that's without me getting junk all over everything. Okay. That's going to sit there and it's going to dry. Now while we're sitting here, this is dried. So what I want to do with it, let's see which one to do first. I'm going to put some glitter on it. Glitter or gold? No, let's do some of this. That's silver. Yeah, we'll put a little bit of silver on it, and then I want to put some glitter on it. Let's do my glitter. Show you how I apply glitter to the ornaments. That. There's a whole can. Ah, here they are. Okay, this is simply a Gilder's paste wax. Again, with my glove on. And it's only going to hit the high spots, so, but it's going to. Okay. By the way, if I don't like something, that's what this is for. Paint over it. Okay. Now, the way I put glitter on things, I paint it on because I think I have a lot more control of it. I use Mod Podge paint. Okay, got some glitter in there. It's available at any of the craft stores. It's a common, very common. I put too much too much of it, of the Mod Podge in there, but
And it dries clear.
it dries clear. That's right. Okay. I found when I tried to do it the other ways, it was, I was getting too much in one area and not enough in the other area and everything else. So this just, the intention of putting the glitter on there, I don't want somebody to see the glitter. When you walk up next to it, I want you to see the glitter, but I want you to have, when you look at it, it sort of has a little little shimmer to it. I have. I don't like the way it works because I get too much in one spot versus the other. And once you apply it, you have no control over it. This, if you notice what I'm doing, I have quite a bit of control over where I'm putting it.
What's the purpose of putting that wax on there?
It just highlights it, highlights some spots on it. Probably should have put it on after I did this instead of before it, but you know what? If you don't like it, you can always put another coat on this thing. Okay. We'll let that.
And it cleans with water.
It cleans with water. It's a water soluble. It's basically a varnish, like it's, it's a water soluble type varnish. The craft people use it all the time. It comes in different lusters. This one may be a gloss because I'm gonna gloss it anyway. Water-based glue sealer and finish. And that's my disposable cups. Okay. It's still a little damp, but
Have you used artisan down, the urchin type?
no, I have not. The dye is only going to soak in certain areas versus not soaking in other areas. And most of these that I'm doing are ones that when I look at it, I don't like the color of it. It's dirty or whatever. The color ones sell just as well or better than than the non-color. I don't even have any color ones out there, do I? Nope. The color, they sell just about the same, just as well as the plain ones do. So,
Well, it gives you more options than the paint.
it gives you more options on, yeah. Well, paint, there's a lot of options on paint. You can put anything you want paint-wise. You can also turn around and dry brush over it
Yeah.
if you're on dry brushing it. I have this one. Where's the one I painted? Oh, here's the one I actually started here. We'll go ahead and finish the one we started. Okay. While that's drying out, we'll go back to the lathe. I'm gonna lose this thing. It doesn't want to stay. Okay. How does this lock? Button? I actually wound up with all three size lathes. All three spindle sizes. That's right. Like that. Need that little drive center, which I should have put it back up here. I don't see it. Well, I'll just, since I'm only going center on, I'll just throw a drive center in. I don't know where I put the other one. I'm coming back on center.
somewhere.
Well, let me try my other ear. It doesn't work on that ear. My ears stick out like Dumbo, so. Okay. And I'm gonna switch back to this so I can do it in a single pass instead of having to move the tool rest. The intention now is to just get the shape.
Yeah, lapel mic, let's try that.
Let's try that.
Cut it off.
I won't have to worry about my ear. Okay, 1, 2, 3 test. 1, 2, 3 testing. Does that look good? About right? Okay. I'm just looking to see where, I don't have a marker in here somewhere, where I want the bottom to be. It needs to be right about in here. Second time I wasn't paying attention. You should come in vertically instead of an angle. Get back to the skew for the rest. The skew does a better job of making that planing cut all the way across it. This lathe is super high, isn't it?
A little high.
Yeah, it's a little higher than.
Might be because the wheel set.
Yeah, it could be. It's higher than I'm used to. I'm used to a little bit lower. And with the skew on it, the skew gives me a good finish already. So I'm gonna hit it with 220 just to knock some corners off of it. And then 320. And I should probably hit it with the 220 down here first.
What's your, squeeze there on this white?
And take it off. You're right. I'm far enough south, I usually turn a short sleeve shirt on. So. Okay, I'm ready to take that off. Introduce you to a new tool you probably haven't seen. It is a lathe knife. It's what the Russians use when they're turning. It's their skew that they use. I got it. I have it. I've just started using it, but it works great for these V cuts. Really works great. I can cut in 3 times deeper with this than I can a skew going in on it. And it's all because of the angle of the tip on it. If you look at those angles, you'll notice this one is a whole lot sharper angle coming in. So it does a very good job of that. Leaves me a clean finish. So it's what I like to use for making that final pass on it, because it gives me a let's take the bulk out of this, but I just got it, just playing with it and everything, but I found I like it for this. It will work on this part here, but I'm not going to demonstrate it because I will probably tear it up.
Is that very expensive?
It wasn't too bad. There's a guy in the UK that has them, and I bought them from him. I bought this, and I bought the. They use a little hook tool too for the hollowing stuff, like they do those make those dolls and stuff from.
I've seen a video of Russia using one of those, and it amazed me with the
Well, look what it just peeled off of there. You know, that's actually one piece. It didn't even separate on that side there, and coming in doing it, and it. Already to the center yet? Oh. But if you look at the terrible cut it left me on the bottom of it. Do you have the comb that goes on this?
Let me go look.
Okay. I can use this if I have to, but it'd be better to put the cone on it. I'm going to put this on the lathe back and forth several times. And I was thinking that this one here was the one that spun up, but it isn't. Let's see what we have. While he's looking for that, I want to show you what I do the way I finish my pieces. Upstairs to my shop, I got a sliding glass door. I have a little piece of wood in it. That hangs on that piece of wood. So I can swing that around and put it in the door opening. Now what I do, we'll hook just a couple of these on here. Those are just the standard ones. That's sitting through my door. If you picture that opening in my door, squirt it with my paint, Squirt it another time, squirt it again, and squirt it that way. Take that off. That hangs and hooks up underneath it on a shelf, and that hangs right there and finishes drying. I've got about 10 of these. So
Does that not require pre-thought?
this one actually required pre-thought. Yes, it did. This one did. But
You might have built that itself.
but it's fabulous for I spray lacquer, and it's a fabulous way of doing it. When I have the bigger pieces, I do the same thing with it, except for it's every other one instead of every one. And I can hit there and spray it this way, and then get that on there. And I spray it from all 4 directions.
How many coats?
It all depends. I usually have 3 or 4 coats. Depends on the wood, but it's usually 3 or 4 coats on it.
You sand dead flat between?
I sand before my final coat only.
Okay.
And I sand with 360 sandpaper. I'm sitting from the TV. And what I want to do is I want to knock off any of the gritty stuff that you feel. If you've sanded, you usually feel a little grit on it. I sand it off so I get all the grit. Lacquer dissolves itself into it. If you don't have it, that's fine. Oh, you got it? Okay. Lacquer dissolves the lacquer that's underneath it, so it all bonds out real well. Now I use a DeVillis touch-up spray gun for the automotive industry. It's a high-end, high-quality spray gun. I tried the rattle cans. I don't do real well with them. I've tried the other another sprayer that was not of the quality of it on it, and I liked it. For me, it is well worthwhile the investment on the high quality gun. It is a gravity fed spray gun. There's lacquer sitting in my gun right now at home. When I get ready to use it, I'll take that, squirt it one time, and then I hit it on the pieces. The lacquer keeps the lacquer inside of the gun dissolved, and it doesn't clog it up.
Well, I understand.
Now, maybe once a quarter or something. If I went out there after 6 months, it may not be spraying around the tip as well. I'll dump it back into the container. I'll pour some acetone on it, squirt some acetone a couple times, dump the acetone, or I'll put this much acetone in the cup, spray it through there, and dump my stuff in and keep on spraying. And that's all I do to ever clean it. But because it's gravity fed with the thing above it, I can leave lacquer in it now. If I had to do that and clean that gun every time, I wouldn't do it. Okay, not when I put 4 coats on this thing. With it sitting in the thing, I can go spray it. An hour later, I can come back and hit it with another coat. And it's easy to continue to apply coats. I'm also spraying through the open door, so all my overspray goes outside. So I'm not getting any spray inside whatsoever. I'll hang it back inside, depends on what the weather looks like. I put an awning out there a couple of years ago so I could spray when it's raining, so it didn't spray out on it. But it's a way. It's my way of handling it. It works pretty well for that. Thank you. Thanks. Now what I'm doing with this, and I don't need much pressure on it, I'm gonna sand it. And
That comes from rubber chucky that dries?
yeah, it's a rubber chucky. Anything that you can put it between there, it doesn't make any difference. I was originally just gonna use this drive on it, and I thought the rubber chucky was fitting this corner. I could use those two together just like that. It doesn't make any difference. But that is the rubber chucky. My intention, all I'm doing now is I'm just sanding. Reds. Okay, we'll go with a blue. And I don't know which one is which. One's thinner, one's thicker. Well, we'll make this one. Just do that on the thinner side. The what?
At least 3 or 4 drops.
Yeah. And I'm going to start getting a little purple in this build up on here between the red and blues. Now you remember I didn't go all the way down with the sandpaper. I just hit it with the coarse one to make sure it's smooth enough. Normally, if I can do it, I'll take it off the scraper versus even putting anything else on it. Okay. That one's ready. It looks like I spread that silver out all over this thing. Let's talk about different ways of hanging these things. What I actually do most of the time is I have a bunch of little small eye hooks I use and to install them, this is not ready to do it. Well, let's stick it on here just to do that. This needs to be drilled. I apologize. Depends on how hard the material is. Maple, I'm gonna have to drill it. So, my particular eye hook, somewhere around a 58 or something is the drill. I would center that. Now notice how I'm supporting my hand and everything else. I got both pieces supported. I'm not trying to do this in the air type of thing. And I'm basically, just like a little small drill bit on it, holding it. You can drill this way too with it. And when you're doing it this way, it's strictly, you're just doing that, because you're not going down on it much.
That drill bit is come from a jeweler supply or
This is one of those little carbide drill bits
from?
that they use in the, I got it off Amazon. I think Harbor Freight has sets of them. I've actually started ordering some of them from Amazon. The reason why is I use a lot of one size,
Yeah.
and I never dull them, I break them.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I went ahead and took it out there, because I would, if you hit it on something, it's going to pop. And then I'll take an eyelet and screw it, screw the eyelet into it. That's generally what I've done. I still have enough of these to last me the rest of my life, because I'd ordered a bunch from China. I haven't been able to find them again, but I had ordered a bunch of them. I gave a bunch away and everything. I probably had 20 or 30,000 to start at one point in time. Another option that you have that's readily available are these little rings. Michaels and Hobby Lobby sell them in the jewelry supply thing. They're made for making little earrings. Okay, that's the hook that the top of it's going to go to.
Put it back in the camera for us, Trent. Back towards you a little bit. Right there, right there.
Oh, here. Use this way. Just do it this way. Pass it around. Okay? Those you'd simply drill a hole and put a little small drop of glue on. They all come all types of lengths and everything else.
Well, I got them about 20,000 from Bob Cat. I didn't know what they were.
They use them to make, for making earrings. These are short, this is a short one. You couldn't put much on it. But they make the long ones and they put the little beads on it and then bend the little bottom off it or something like that to seal it off. But this will make a good hook. Drill a small hole in there and put a drop of glue in there and put it in there. Slide it right in.
Even a blind squirrel finds every once in a while. Just didn't know what that was for.
You can be a little bit more ambitious and do your own wires. Now on cutters for jewelry cutters, they are not V-shaped like this normally. This is set as a flush cutter. So what it is, it's actually like this. It's straight on one side and beveled on the other side. This side is straight, the inside has a bevel on it. But that means when I make a cut here, that piece of wire is straight. If I cut it this way, the wire is beveled on the end. It's beveled this way, pointed. I don't want it that way. I cut it so it's straight. You can take a pair of pliers, you spin it around, you got the hook in there, and they indicate it's sort of breaking the back. I'm going to come in right about here and bend it back so I have a hook on it. I can use that. I can put that on the top of the bird of any of the ornaments. Glue it in just like I did on the others. Nothing different. It's just made the little hook on it out of any type of wire that you want to do it. Other people will actually take and drill a hole through here, run a string through it, and tie it. I've seen others drill a hole down inside of it, shove a couple pieces of fishing wire into it, put a drop of glue in it, and hold it in place. If you can get it from both sides, you can shove the fishing line through it, tie a knot on it, and pick it back up. My little birdhouses are a little different. I have I actually have it here. Here, you can pass that over. There's a bead on the end of that wire. If I take a piece of wire and heat it with a torch so it melts, I'm holding the wire up like this and heating it with the torch, it will ball up on the end by just heating it. It forms that little ball.
You can buy them like that for the earrings. It's got that little ball.
With the ball on it? Okay. Well, that's what I've done for my little birdhouses. I have a hole in the end, the ball comes up through the hole, and then I take the pliers and bend the little hook on the end of it.
I see that. Yeah.
But the ball keeps it from coming through the hole. But that's the way I've done on all my metal birdhouses. I'm talking as this one is drying out, so we'll be able to do something with it shortly. The jewelry wires are probably one of your better. Now people use fish hooks too. If you use fish hooks, don't use these pliers on them. These are made for cutting silver, gold, brass. They are not made for cutting hardened metal, and as soon as you do, you're going to ruin the pliers. You pay all the way from $5 to $70 per pair. You don't want to blow $70 off because you cut a piece of hard wire on it and now you have a big nick out of it. So I hate to say those are actually expensive ones because I do jewelry work too. So actual live jewelry work. And let's go through some stuff here. I want to talk about some. I don't know whether y'all got to see it. And I'll put it underneath here. This top is flame painted. It's done with a torch. You start with clean copper. Well, I form the tops, but once the top is formed, you clean the copper, so it's bright, bright, bright copper, and then you lay a base coat in there, a base color onto it. Then I back the torch off, I put an oxidizing torch on it, and I will hold it this way, and it will burn off that oxidation that was already there. And it will become bright again. It becomes bright copper again, because I burned off this other thing. Then I heat it up, and you can form a color onto it by heating it up. This has multiple colors back onto it, and it'll burn, and you can put the color on. Now you can put about 5 or 6 colors on one piece. You start with the hottest colors first, and then go to the colder colors while you're doing it. And it's amazing the stuff you could do with the colors on that. That is enameled. Enameling is a process of putting glass on metal and melting the glass. It goes into a kiln. I want to say I'm about 1,500 degrees in the kiln on it. But you put it on there, and you put the enameled glass, powdered glass on there. Goes in the kiln about 1,500 degrees, and then you pull it back out a couple minutes later after it heats up. The body's been sandblasted to add some more texture or pattern to it. That top was just sandblasted. There's some colors on some of these. There's a little bit of Zentangle markings on those, on that. Which way is that? Right side up. A little bit of Zentangle markings on it. That one is just patinaed.
Gerald, not to interrupt
That's
you,
aluminum.
What was that substance Janice Levi put on? Something liver, something.
Liver or sulfur.
Yeah, that was it.
I don't have any liver or sulfur in anything. Liver or sulfur would take silver and turn it black, and it takes copper and it turns and it oh, you stay there. Stay. It'll tarnish. It'll make copper tarnish.
Yeah.
And if I'm not doing that on any of these strictly because when you like to have it tarnished in there, and then you can clean some of it off and leave some of it tarnished and not tarnished.
Yeah, that's what she did.
But liver sulfur is one of the patinas that are common on doing stuff. The hex shape was turned on a rose engine. I put it on a rose engine lathe. The finial on this was turned in wax. Then I used wax loss casting and cast it in sterling silver. So the finial on this is sterling, and the perch is also sterling. But I originally turned this in wax, and then cast the finial for the bottom of it, and sterling. Another type of birdhouse. This is a newer style birdhouse
I like that.
doing. It's really neat. This one's just a variation of the same thing, except for I actually fit for the top and bottom to fit on there instead of just the bottom. Little Lichtenberg burning. If you do get into burning, buy a commercial unit. Don't try to build your own unit. Start with that. Don't even think about building your own unit. You'll kill yourself with a microwave transformer. It's discouraged because of that reason. There's too many people have got killed and trying to do it themselves. I can do that. Don't. Charles Wagner sells a commercial unit. If you're going to do it, get with him and contact him and work with him. It's high voltage, but it's low current, and it will not. You'll feel it, but it's not going to kill you. It won't lay you in the grave. So. And I think as far as I'm concerned, your hands have to have one probe in one hand, one probe in the other hand, and it's a foot. Excuse me. Turn it on and off with your foot.
We got a transformer, remember, I guess well, anyway, he took the transformer out of his broke down microwave and was using that, and it was just out on the table when I found him, and he said, hey, look what we too.
Yeah, that is very dangerous.
Hurt you? I said, no, it won't hurt you, Charlie.
It'll kill you.
Kill
What?
you, you'll never know it.
Okay. Now I've moved to 220 sandpaper. I'm gonna work through the sandpapers on this one. Okay, let's go back with another red. I'm gonna put a different color red on this one. That was magenta. This is just red. What's our timing look like? What are you doing at time?
I've got 20 after 11 on my clock.
Well, I have no idea what the time's supposed to be.
What time?
Whatever you wanna do, I guess.
Yeah, we got, we got an auction, a show and tell to do, just get.
Well, I want to do this. I don't have to turn a finial. I can just fit a finial to it.
That'd be fine.
And we'll do the same thing in the sea urchin shell. I'll fit a finial to it.
This is the third layer of color, is that right?
This is my third layer.
I know this is gonna seem simple for me, but I never thought of using the Q-tip to put the dye on.
Yeah.
And so therefore you don't waste quite as much,
That's where I'm paying the big bucks, right?
You see the secretary, he will address that. So I'm saying that's the simplest way to do it, and not waste. There's gonna be some that run out of rag you can't utilize,
But cleanup is easy too with it. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And we'll just let that one start curing out. I have something set. I can do a stone inlay. Y'all interested in that? Any interest in a little stone inlay?
You have an example of what it is, or?
We still have.
That's the piece.
That's up to you guys.
It's up to y'all.
Yeah, they said yes.
Okay. I've done it on one side. I normally just do one side, but we'll go ahead and put do the other side. So. A pencil here. Oh well. So I don't see my pencil. We'll just use this. Okay. I'm gonna do a little holly pattern on this. So we'll just draw a holly leaf on it. I know it's too close. Let me move it back this way. Okay. Now I'm going to take a round burl. There are a couple in here. I'm not sure. Which is the bigger of the two? They're both about the same. Now I'm going to carve out an area for this. And The lines are just for guidance. I'm not going to follow them. And I'll tell you what, for the sake of time, I'll just do one leaf. So you got the process. So. Now, this was not hollowed on the lathe. This was a 1/4 inch hole drilled and put on a pin mandrel and turned on a pin mandrel.
So it's not hollow?
It's not hollow. So I'm not going to cut through it.
That's right.
But because it's small enough, it doesn't weigh a lot. It's not going to hurt a tree too much just because it's size. Okay, let's go around.
What kind of wood is that, Dave?
It's a piece of cherry. And all I've done is I'm cutting a recess in it a little bit so I can do some inlaying into it. This is just a little bit smaller diameter so I can get the corners better. Now, to be honest, I use an NSK on this normally, but for the sake of being here, it was a little harder to bring the compressor in and do all that. So, and I'm just and I'm sure you've seen an NSK with Sammy here, so. Let's see what I got. I'm pretty close. I want to get that bumpy stuff out of the middle, and we'll call it good. Okay. Now, what I'm going to put on here is I'm going to put fluoride on it, and it is a one of two. I do that or calcite. It's a green color. It's not a bright green color.
Where do you get that?
I bought it as a block, as a chunk of stone at one of the jewelry most of the jewelry supplies don't have it. It's a fairly soft stone. It's about a 3 or 4 on the scale. Your knife will cut 5, diamonds 10. The scale is not linear. It jumps significantly at the end on hardness, but it's a soft stone, so it carves, so it will cut fairly easy. Turquoise is a relatively hard stone. Now, I have taken these stones, and I have a number on them. That's what I have as my coarse stone. I put it in the bottom of a container and just crunch, crunch, crunch. Okay? Ran it through a sieve. Okay? That's a finer stone. After I ran it through the sieve, is all it is. And then this one here is almost a powder on it.
I learned to use pony beads from Janet Levi this past SWAT. I went home, tried it, and ruined the carpet grinder, but theoretically it works.
Okay.
Well, we had some incense fellowship there for a little bit.
Oh. There's a whole thing of paintbrushes here and there. I'm going to paint the bottom of it because the stone is sort of translucent a little bit. By painting it, okay, that looks like a perfect brush. By painting it, I can get by with. You'll see. You'll get a little color underneath it.
Is that all or acrylic?
This is acrylic. You can pass that around if you want. It's an acrylic. I'm gonna put I say I'm gonna put two color.
I'm cheap, I got a friend at a paint store, I take my husband's bottle, and go get him some paint mixes, and draw me out all the different colors.
That ain't cheap, Ed, that's being smart.
Well,
Really pretty right
and I'm gonna put. And we're going to let this dry while we move on to the. Is this ready? No, it's still low down. Let's fit a finial. I don't like that. I don't like that very well, but we'll see what we can do. Let's put a finial to it. Make the finial up to it. Okay. So. This is the chuck I've decided I like for finials more than anything else. It's a small Vicmar chuck, but the jaws are heavy enough in here that I can put pressure on them and hold stuff. A lot of the jaws that you get for some of these others are, they just don't, they start flexing. It gets me far enough away. When I go to this one here, I'm still pretty close to the chuck. This gets me far enough away from the chuck that I feel comfortable with it. Now, dividers. Okay, now what I need to do, I'm going to measure that opening. I'm going to measure the size of that opening. And the intention on it is, I've turned this finial a long time ago. It doesn't make any difference. Look to see where I'm at. Okay, right about there. I don't care what this is doing out here. All I care is about what it's doing right here. That's moved a little bit. I could probably sand it, but that would be about it. Now remember, what I actually have here, this fits inside of the shell, so I got to remember I need to leave a little bit bigger, proud of that. Cutting tool. And we'll see how that looks. And you come a little bit more on it, just a tad more, not much. That chuck is loose. Loosened up last time. Okay, still good. Still a little bit more. It's not going to loosen up on it. Also, I'm coming down a little, overhanging a little more than what I want to, so I'm going to come in. I want about a 1/16 of an inch or less, a 1/16 to an 1/8 inch overhang on that. It's going to fit this time. No, still not. When I normally do this, I'll just have it in a dial caliper and measure the inside and then do it on the outside, but I didn't bring my dial. So. Okay, thanks. I can't use them. No, the tip's not rounded. Oh, quiet, Teddy. I used to dial. Oh, kids came back in. Quiet until he saw children. He loves little kids. He thinks the whole purpose of little children is to play with him and scratch him. Okay. Now, I'm going to leave this on here because I haven't finished the thing out, but normally I would go ahead and part it off there. I will drill a little 1/8-inch hole in it, and I'll put a little 1/8-inch dowel between the top and bottom when I glue it together. So there's a dowel between the top and bottom. And that would be the way I fit that finial on that. 2 pieces. Okay.
Hardwood does something similar, connecting the two pieces.
Yeah, I use a toothpick on my small ones. On the for the little small sea urchins, I use a toothpick. The other thing I do on the small ones, is it here? No, I don't see it. Instead of fitting it that way, I'll put a taper on. I'll put about a 45-degree angle and go in with on that on the small ones, versus the way I just did that. Now you notice it fits in fairly well on it. I use E6000 adhesive, the E6000 glue.
I'm impressed with the way that glitter turned out.
And I use E6000. This is standard glue. I like it because it fills the joints and it'll fit on there. It's clear. You don't see it. It's not obtrusive on you with you or anything.
When you get to a stopping spot, we'll call it, because we got some other things to discuss,
Okay.
not the rest of cutting short.
Well, that's all right. I would like to do one other thing,
Okay.
and I'm not going to do all of it, but I was going to put the beard on a gnome. I had the body already, so I was just going to put a beard on a gnome with hot glue.
That'd be fine.
Does that, and we'll end with that. Okay. Well, it doesn't cure until I put the light on it, so it doesn't make any difference. These are numbered. They were, I picked a whole big box of them at a flea market, or one of these little marketplaces.
Yeah.
They are campaign buttons and stuff like that. Okay, make your own buttons that you put the thing over. But since I paid almost nothing for them, they work great for this application because those are just going to get trashed. I don't worry about cleaning them. I use it for mixing everything and all that kind of stuff. Just because the price is right. And I went from the big to the small. This is still soft. Then my UV light. Where's my top to this? Now, it is important that you have the right wavelength UV light to the resin. I bought them at the same place. There are a bunch of different wavelengths. The stuff that your dentist uses is a different UV light wavelength. It's just a different wavelength. The other option is go put it out in the sun, and it would work fine in the sun. Okay, that's cure. It's dry totally.
I've heard of that.
And I'm not going to sand it all the way, but then I'll simply sand it all the way down. And that's okay. And I said the one last
Where
thing.
did you get that?
I bought it from Easy Inlay. Easy Inlay is who I purchased it from.
Okay.
It does not cure, as I say, it does not cure until you actually. Okay. And I'm gonna go ahead and do the gnome real quick because it doesn't take but a second to do that. I found the way I like to center and mark. If I'm gonna put a nose on here. I don't like that little spot, so we'll put the nose right here. It's an 1/8 inch hole. That was just to mark it so I could drill it. And that should be an 1/8 inch drill there in one of these. Yep, there it is. I have a little jig here. That's an 1/8 inch. That fits in there. That's the way I measure it on the lathe, is measuring that 1/8 inch into it. That's my 1/4 inch that I use for my small finials. And it's my way of measuring it. It's a good, easy measure. Well, that looks like it's a little tight. I don't like the way that's sticking out, so we'll slow this way down. I don't like the way it's not mounted very well. See if I can see if it'll mount better. Did that just trip off? Do I have it in pencil? Not locked. That's what I didn't want to do. It's too long to have any speed on it. I have a drill behind me. I could put it in, I guess. Let me just do that. This is not working very well. I apologize. I'm just drilling an 1/8 inch hole for the nose plate. All the difference in the world, right? Okay. Now I'm going to shove this in, and I'm going to leave a little bit of room out of it. I'm not going all the way down to the bottom. I'll hit it with a little hot glue in the inside. Then I'm going to put a beard on him. Now, that's my pattern that I use. A little heart shape, and I have a little slot cut in the back of it. I will fit that up around the nose. And the reason why the nose is sticking out a little bit, so it can push up up underneath it. I put that where I want it, position-wise. Raise the corner up. A little hot glue. A little hot glue. And it's where it's supposed to be. Then I come down at the bottom. And I have a beard. And the hat is going to be nothing more than, you know, just a turned wooden hat on it that sits on it. And that would be the gnome.
Great.
With that. Okay. I know I took too long for you, but
Don't run off, I need to see you for next year. All right, we'll take a real quick break, and then we're gonna go to show and tell. If you need to go to